Всем привет, понял YouTube, с вами я, VERTIGO. Мы с вами продолжаем проходить Kingdom Come Deliverance. И что у нас было в прошлой серии? То, что, получается, поговорили за друзей, договорились, чтобы жалобу убрали. В общем, нашли тех, кто делал фальшивые монеты. Получается, засадили, только тот усач хотел убить. Он меня убил, потому что я тупанул. Потом в следующий раз я вообще без него пришел, хотя он с нами был. Ну, короче, забавно. Что мне сейчас надо сделать? Надо, получается, найти вербовщиков, кто лутает людей. Тут как-то монахи замешанные, ну и все как бы. Короче, я сразу вас предупреждаю, вы даже, возможно, слышите то, что... Ну, я только проснулся, у меня глаза плывут, горло почему-то печет, речь вообще не идет. Тоже, ну... Понимаете, окей? Тоже берите что покушать, попить, приятного просмотра, аппетита. Сейчас я отдам квест своим дружкам и продолжим дальше по сюжету. Короче, вкратце гляну, сколько примерно осталось. И, как я говорил, то что фигня. Там не 11 серий получится. Я думаю, я за эту неделю пройду игру. Тоже все прекрасно. Еще, кстати, прошел наконец-то турнир в Ротае. Выполнил еще одно DLC насчет Мельника, его сына. Убил чемпиона, потому что он мне сделал засаду. Ну и тем самым отомстил за сыном, потому что он так само убил сына Мельника. Ну, кузнеца точнее. У нас осталось по факту 2 DLC. Это с паном Яном, которая еще не появилась, и поиски сокровища. Ну и сюжет на пару серий где-то.
Couldn't bear to look at those sour faces of yours a moment longer.
Thanks, Henry. Only...
What?
The reward we talked about, well, we haven't got 2 groschen to rub together.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. You'll pay me when you have it.
That we will. Stop by and visit us in a week. We'll pay you back as soon as we get our first wage.
Я вообще не помню то, что мы за деньги договаривались. Ну ладно, через недельку приду. Блин, кстати, надо навести мое поселение, потому что из-за того, что я сидел в тюрьме, там прошло уже более 2 недель игрового времени, там уже, наверное, ого, сколько накопилось. Заодно узнаем, сколько оно копится в неделю.
Are you the local knacker?
I'm the local grave digger. But if there aren't any burials to take care of, I'll turn me hand to knackering.
Well, then you might know a lot of things that others don't.
I'm a decent man. Not always honest, but decent.
And what's been happening in Sasau lately?
Nothing interesting. Except maybe that bitch being slaughtered.
What? Who was she, a villager? I wouldn't call that nothing interesting.
No, I mean a dog bitch. It was a while back, but they called me to clear it up.
What happened?
The dog looked like she'd been hacked to bits. They were scared it was some demon, but as far as I could see, someone took a sword or an axe to her.
Why on earth would anyone do that?
What do I know? Maybe he was snooping around where he shouldn't, and the bitch went for him. I hear there was some dog-bitten fellow being cared for at the monastery. Only they kept him there on account of a broken leg. Maybe that's the same one.
Anything fishy going on in these parts?
There certainly is. Candles are being stolen from the church, as brazen as that. What sort of people do that?
Ah, but have you heard of anyone around here hiring adventurers and bandits?
How would I know that? Most people avoid talking to me. I don't even go to the tavern much these days.
Thank you. I'll be going now.
Very well. Feel free to stop by any time. People shy away from me, except when there's a death or the cesspit's full. Sure.
What's happening here? Oh my god. Philip and... they're all...
Yes. Where do you think the wounded ended up?
Actually, I had no idea.
You know, me and Nicodemus have been trying to keep things under control since Skalitz was raised. Just the 2 of us.
So can I help at all?
Certainly. We can always use an extra pair of hands here. And it's been like that since the beginning.
I was in a bad way myself back then. They took me to Ratai unconscious and I needed a healer. How is everyone holding up? What can I do?
Holding up? People here are dying, usually needlessly, and I can't do anything about it. We don't have enough food or space or anyone who's willing to help us.
Why is there a guard outside?
He's here because of me.
Because of you?
One time I just had enough of it all, of the way they treat us, and I almost slapped one of... but that doesn't matter.
Doesn't the monastery care for them?
They give us some food for them and a place to sleep, but I wouldn't say they help exactly. More like they just tolerate us.
Do you have enough food?
Enough to survive, maybe, but convalescents need feeding up.
Maybe if I brought some meat, some game, that would strengthen them up.
That would be a great help.
Anything else you need?
Look around.
Well, it is a little crowded.
Crowded. I've had to leave some of the sick lying in the open air, even at night. And have you seen what they're lying on?
I'll try to negotiate better conditions with the monastery.
I tried that, out loud. They just nod their heads, but don't move a muscle.
Very well. And how are you doing? You're the only woman here, alone in the monastery.
Some of the monks speak to me, but other people act like I don't exist. Too bad the custodian isn't one of those.
Is the custodian causing you problems?
All the time. Apparently he has a wife somewhere, but that doesn't stop him. He's constantly strutting around in front of me.
And, what else?
What do you mean, what else? He's invited me to his home.
I could do something about it, if you liked.
No, I can deal with him. The last thing I need is you going around threatening people. It won't help me, and it definitely won't help the refugees.
Doesn't anyone help you with nursing these people? You've got scholars all around you.
Scholars, maybe, but they leave the healing up to God. Nicodemus is trying, but everything he knows is from his books.
Can I have a look at them myself? I know a little about healing.
Do you now? And what would you do if you burnt yourself at the forge?
First, you have to cool it down with water. Marigold ointment helps, and it's better if you don't bind it and let it breathe.
You do know what you're talking about. Looks like blacksmiths know about more than just pulling teeth.
Pulling teeth? Nothing to it. As long as you don't squeeze the pincers too hard and crush them.
Well, go and see if anyone needs anything. Just don't go pulling anyone's teeth.
What can you tell me about the custodian?
He's supposed to be in charge of all the guards and the security of the monastery. But really, he has a say in pretty much everything, including supplies. And that's why he probably thinks he can do whatever he wants.
All right, that's all I need to know.
Look, Henry, I know I can speak harshly, but I'm at the end of my tether. Last week Bohuslav died. Maybe you knew him. And nobody even blinked an eye. We desperately need help.
I'll do whatever's in my power. What's wrong with that man by the altar? He doesn't look wounded, but he's really pale and doesn't react at all.
He had a broken leg. A bad one. The bone had come right through the skin. We tried to straighten it, but I don't know if we did it right. I'm not holding out much hope for him. I've seen folk in that state before, and it didn't end well.
My God, there has to be something we can do.
And what do you suggest? The monks won't help, and I don't know anyone else who can.
Well, I can try. I'll straighten his leg.
You?
Unfortunately, I've had occasion to try this sort of thing before. You have to place the bones as precisely as you can next to each other. It's hard, but you have to ignore any screams of pain. That's the only way to help him.
Well, fine. Try it then.
Пришел, поговорил с ней. Ема сколько квестов она мне накидала. Я в шоке. Просто посмотри, сколько всего. Еды надо. Ну ладно, смотри, тут легко, тут любого мяса можно принести. Это можно закупиться на изи быстро. О, боже. А это тоже еще прикол. Так, мне с тобой надо общаться.
He just needs to sleep.
Логично. С тобой? Нет, не с тобой. Просто если я уже здесь, давай пообщаемся. Так, окей, мне надо зайти внутрь. Но я бы не сказал, что это какой-то DLC. Просто помочь Йоханке с этими приколами и все. Опа. А, тебе надо править ногу. Держись, дружок. Сейчас будет больно. Все? А. Просто так пришел левый чел и начал ногу управлять. Видишь, медицину не зря прокачал. Я такой сонный, я не могу проснуться.
Done.
Все, доволен?
He's not reacting. But all I can see that's wrong with him is his leg. I have to ask Johanka.
What the...
I see you look much better.
No, I feel much better. Then I heard it was all down to you. Thank you. If you ever need to know about anything that's going on in Sasau, come and see me. There's nothing much happens here without my knowledge. Thomas is my name.
How are you doing? Feeling better yet?
Aye, much better. I'm truly grateful. A bit longer and I'll be able to run back to the woods and carry on. Well, never mind. Very kind of you to look in on me.
Truth be told, I didn't come just for your health.
What do you need?
Well, I've heard tell there's work for fearless men who enjoy a bit of silver.
Ah, I believe I can help you with that. They used to frequent the tavern, but now they meet in the church.
The church?
Aye, that's right. The church is locked at night, but if you see a light, the door will be open. Go in there and wait. Say a prayer or something, and then you'll see.
That's it? I don't need to speak to anyone?
Just doing what I told you is enough. They'll give you a good look over and see if you've got the metal. Don't you worry about that.
All right, thank you.
You took care of me, why wouldn't I help you? Tit for tat, eh?
Легкая информация добыта. Так, стоп. И что мне конкретно надо сделать? С тобой общаться. Зачем?
Everything here is fine. I'm not needed here.
Матей. Еще не живой до сих пор. Подожди, тут как будто что-то появляется. А, сохраниться тут можно. Интересно. Ага.
These wounds have been well taken care of.
Петр. Первый.
What? What's happening?
You look all right.
Mostly, but my leg still hurts.
Did the humans wound you?
That's what I tell the ladies. Truth is, I did myself a mischief while I was running away.
And do they rebandage it for you?
Occasionally. They told me they don't have enough bandages.
Well, that's no use. Those bandages need changing. I've got bandages, so I can take care of it.
Wonderful. Could you tell Brother Nicodemus?
Скільки пов'язок.
I can do it myself.
Нихера себе, как мне врач помогает, умение.
I thought you were
Я
a
просто
blacksmith.
куча повязок находил и никогда их не брал. Сейчас минус 10 повязок. Я ими, конечно, не пользуюсь, но все равно. Многовато как бы забрали.
Fine then.
Ну все. Залутал типа. Доволен?
What's going on?
How are you feeling?
Good. It feels clean. Hope it helps.
It will. Tell them to rebandage you daily. You have the bandages here.
Thank you very much, Henry.
Don't mention it.
Так, давай сейчас осмотрим быстренько.
Philip, from Skalitz. I don't see any wounds, but he's shaking terribly.
И чё? Тут вообще можно сохраниться.
Everything here is fine. His wounds have been well taken care of.
Так, ну осталось как будто 2 человека.
Christ above! I can't get a wink of sleep.
What are you making such a fuss about?
A fuss? Because of my leg, I have to stay here for at least another week. Hurts like fuck. And with everyone else moaning and groaning all night, I can't get any sleep.
Why don't you go and lie somewhere else?
I can't. Not with this leg.
Maybe I can make you something to help you sleep.
Oh, then for God's sake, do it quickly.
God be with you.
Впрочем, надо что-то купить, да? Какое-то зелье. Чтобы он заснул.
What the...
You're not from Skalitz?
No, but please help me. I can't stay here.
Well, you're pretty battered, but I don't see anything that a few weeks' rest can't fix.
Weeks? My God, I have to get back to work sooner than that.
What's the problem? Why can't you stay until you heal?
I have a family. I'm poor. It's only thanks to the building work that we can survive. And the master told me, if I don't come back in a few days, then I shouldn't come back at all. And where can me and my wife go then? Who'll take us in? We'll end up living in the woods.
where any bandit or ruffian could set on us.
What happened to you?
I was working on the building when the scaffolding up by the roof collapsed underneath me.
Well, and you're very lucky you survived at all.
Yes, that's what everyone tells me. But it's no use being alive if all I can do is lie here like a wet sack of barley.
Is there anything I can do to help? It looks like they took care of your wounds.
When I was little, my father got trampled on by a horse, and an old hag from the village gave him some kind of purple herbs for it. And he got better very quickly.
And do you remember what the herbs were?
I don't. But there's supposed to be the whole cursed knowledge of the world in this place. Something has to be written about it. A herbarium, anything.
I'll try to find something.
Thank you. Thank you.
May the Lord watch over you.
What happened to Philip?
Poor man. There was nothing wrong with him, and now he's getting worse every day.
But do you know why?
Maybe from Skalitz, you see. He hid for days among the corpses. If he got poisoned.
But what can we do?
Us? Nothing. Only Father Simon might have been able to save him. He knew a lot about poisons.
And where is he?
You know he left Skalitz years ago.
And does anyone know where he ended up?
If you believe the stories about a wild man in the woods, then Rovnar is the place to go.
One of the sick men, Semek, is complaining about pain and the fact he can't work. He says he...
Semek? Is he one of our people?
No, he's a construction worker. He's bruised and confined to...
Henry, for God's sake, our neighbors are dying here. You're friends. There isn't time to waste on some construction worker's bruises. Oh, honestly, what were you thinking?
Listen, all I need to find out is the name of a herb.
Then go and look it up in a book. You've got your own
Что за
herbarium,
бред?
haven't you?
Почему она ставит своих выше других? Чем она тогда лучше? Я не понимаю. Человеку надо помочь. Вообще, ну, мне лично насрать, но если говорить по контексту игры, то причина не помогать, я не понимаю.
He just needs to sleep.
А? Типа, что за фигня? Какая-то странная она. Монашка и христианка. Так, что мне надо сделать? Что-то тут добыть. С тобой поговорить.
You're the one who's in charge of the wounded.
Yes, I'm the infirmarius here. Time was I only had a few elderly monks who couldn't walk to take care of. Now I have this mess to deal with.
Monks so old they can't hold themselves up with their own legs.
Oh, if that were the only bodily function they could control. But I shouldn't talk like that. It's a blessing to live to such an age.
How about some potion to induce heavy sleep?
Certainly. The old reliable.
Reliable?
Some of the brothers like a good sleep. And sometimes that's the only way to get one. I'll show you how.
Thanks.
Получается, должен сварить зелье.
Do you know anything about herbs?
I'm not an expert, but I know a little something. Is it urgent?
Well, one of the workers who was injured during construction would like to get back to work. He mentioned some purple flowers that would...
Herbs.
Oh, purple herbs that should help.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but you can have a look in the herbarium here. There won't be too many purple herbs for bruises and sprains.
Why are they so badly provided for? People are crammed in next to each other, and some have to sleep outside. That can't be good for them. It gets freezing here at night.
I can't afford anything more for them.
How is that possible? You're the infirmarius. You decide how all the money gets spent.
But I have no say in how much money I'm given. And because the abbot's away, it's still the same amount I had when I was taking care of a few old men.
I can't believe your conscience lets you leave the Skalitz locals in such a state.
I know. I'm ashamed. But my brothers believe it's all in God's hands now.
And the local custodian? His crew has enough provisions.
I tried him, but it seems he had some disagreement with Johanka, and now he won't give us anything.
I'll try to talk to him. Can't you do anything? Won't the others help?
Unfortunately not. The brothers in the cloister aren't much interested in the external world. And the custodian has enough on his plate with the chaos in the region. Besides, his main concern is the smooth running of the monastery.
Even so, conditions here seem to me quite unchristian.
You're not the only one.
I just can't.
How are the wounded from Skalitz?
Some of them are well taken care of. But others are dying here needlessly. It's a good thing we have Johanka here. I'd never be able to manage on my own.
So you don't normally treat the wounded then?
Well, there were accidents, of course. A broken leg, someone who'd been kicked by a cow or bitten by a goat. But this, I've never dealt with the carnage of battle before.
If only it had been a battle. This was cold-blooded slaughter.
You were there? God be merciful to you and the dead and the wounded.
What do you think about the custodian?
Baron von Berg? Well, he does his job well. He keeps us safe here. And the last time I saw him was when I was rubbing ointment on his rash.
I heard he's been here a lot lately.
That's true. He comes to visit you.
How can I help?
Have you talked to...
I did.
Well, if you know something about it...
That's true. I'm the son of a black...
Come and speak to me.
Thank you. I'm helping at the infirmary now, and I came to...
Ah, and how is Johanka? Do you know her well?
Yes, I do.
Good, good. Does she ever talk about me?
I'm mainly here for supplies and to talk about the state of the wounded from Skalitz. They need blankets, food...
Well, that's not my problem. Let the infirmarius take care of it.
His hands are tied. Until the abbot comes back, he can't get anything.
And why should that interest me?
Maybe because of Johanka.
What precisely are you getting at?
She has a kind heart. Everyone can see how deeply she cares about the wounded. If you help her selflessly,
Так беспокоится то, что насрать на человека, который не из Скалицы. Вот это беспокойство я понимаю.
But I'll discuss it with Nicodemus. I should be able to help in some way. God be with you.
Короче, как работают здесь умения, я до сих пор не понимаю. Я так понимаю, больше из-за того, что человек хочет услышать, и если ты это говоришь конкретно про это, то это успех. А если про что-то другое, то не успех. Но все равно тупо. Если у тебя как бы умение выше, либо у вас одинаково, то оно должно работать. Ну а так, блин, от настроения чисто работает, чисто женщина какое-то умение. И кстати, я заметил то, что выносливость у меня очень долго кончается. Я даже не обращал на это внимания. Так, подожди. Когда мне там надо прийти? Я не знаю, зачем я это сделал. Короче, миссия же ночью все же. Я прочитал, вспомнил, понял. Не хочу перематывать время, просто пойду сейчас, ну... Что-то сделаю по допам, заодно время так промотается и все. Ну, чтобы просто не терять время, я хотя бы что-то сделаю, пользу. Так, это мы скипнем.
How's it looking, Melikar?
I'm glad to see you, Henry. I'd like to thank you again. Everyone is cured. It's nothing short of a miracle.
Oh, that's a relief. You've suffered enough. We've all suffered enough.
God's truth. You know, the folk here are truly grateful. They'd have you and Nicodemus canonized if they could. They brought me gifts for the two of you. I wasn't keen on the idea at first. We're not left with much since the livestock died. But since you're here...
Well, that's kind of them. Give them my thanks.
Sure. They'll be glad you stopped by.
Это так забавно. Я вылечил только двоих, получается. Ну, понятно, там больше людей было. Но только двоим отдал зелье, лечение. Но остальных я просто поубивал. Вот это я понимаю, спасителя. Вот такого героя ждали все. Ну чё, прикольно. Так, я прокачался, получается. Давай прокачаемся и пойдем дальше выполнять что-то. Блин, я не знаю, тут уже, если честно, все говно. Потому что ты либо выбираешь то, другое будет недоступно. И, я не знаю, все такое говно. Ты либо теряешь характеристики, либо получаешь какие-то. Ну, давай вот это. Если вдруг получится так, что я снова сяду в тюрьму, то оно быстрее просто пройдет и все. Так, ведение боя. Ох, нихера себе тут прокачался. Ну, вот это как будто топ, но давай вот это. Увеличится на 20% сильнее. Все, защита, бой, там, выносливость, когда людей больше на меня нападает. Это, кстати, очень удобно, потому что так часто случается. Ну, тут, честно, я не знаю, что прокачиваю. Тут я чисто на рандом качаю, пусть будет. Ага, незаметность. Блин, такое ощущение, как будто ничего не качал. О, уменьшение шума, брони и все такого. Это имба. Вот это имба. Так, кстати, да, я же собаку прокачу. Помню, я вспомнил вот этой фигней, чтобы прокачать собаку. Давай вот это умение. Если собака со мной 24/7, то вот это прикольно. Ну чё, нормально прокачался. Чё, идем дальше, получается.
So you've stayed here on your own?
Quite so, all by myself. All the others were either killed by the humans or fled to Rattay.
I saw the mess they left behind. Savages.
It was horrible. People tried to find shelter in the church, but them dogs was waiting. They knew too well that's where folk would try to hide.
And where did you hide?
By the grace of God, I got my family away into the woods.
And I don't see your family with you. I hope those bastards didn't sniff them out.
No, it takes better man than them to track me down. I sent my wife to Rattay with some others.
I'm sorry to hear that. And what's keeping you here, alone?
My older brother ran away with the wandering players, so when our father was on his deathbed, he made me swear I'd never leave our home.
I can see you took your vow seriously.
I did. But it's starting to get dangerous around here. Again.
The humans.
If it were humans, I'd grab an axe and that would be that. But a week back, some rabble made their way through here. They begged me for food, and mark my words, they weren't taking no for an answer. If they'd been just a tad hungrier, I swear they would have stormed the cottage.
There are gangs like that around, true enough. Do you think folk will ever go back to their homes?
Oh, I don't know about Skallets, but the folk here are sure to want to come back. The only thing they're missing is spiritual support.
Do you mean the priest?
Indeed. When the land's at war, noblemen fight to protect their property. But simple folk want someone to tend their souls.
Of course. But it was the Skallets parish priest who ministered here, wasn't it?
He did. But there's been no sign of him since the attack. Or at least he's definitely not in Rattay among the refugees.
That's true enough. I didn't see him there.
But if you're interested, young fella, maybe you could help us find the priest we need here.
Isn't it up to the bishop to appoint a priest?
Oh, you're probably right. But he don't seem interested in doing it. Why waste time finding a priest for a village with just one old fool in it?
Yeah, you're probably right. I can always ask. But I've really got no idea where to start.
I can help with that. A few years ago, there used to be another priest in Skallets. Simon, I think his name was.
Simon? Father Simon, I remember him. That's the one who went missing, right?
Aye. I don't want to spread rumours, but they say he was in love with his housekeeper. And then she died somehow, poor thing.
Sodom and Gomorrah. Clerics today.
They're men, just like the rest of us, with man's passions. Well, to finish the story, Simon left the parish and ran away. You know that already. There was neither sight nor sound of him for a long time. Until this spring, he showed up here.
And what's he doing here?
That's just it.
All right.
I couldn't tell you exactly. Well, they live on a farm.
I'll go and see what they...
God go with you, lad. And I...
Don't worry. I'm looking for the priest, Father Simon, and I heard you might know of him.
Simon? What do you want him for?
I'm looking for the priest who used to take care of St. James, and the locals tell me they saw him around here.
I don't know if I can help you there. He'll never go back to his parish, if you ask me. Very well. What is it you want to know?
Where can I find him? He's said to be wandering around here somewhere.
I heard that too, and I'm inclined to believe it, even though I haven't seen him myself.
How come?
After our poor Mary went to her rest, we used some of the money he'd paid us to put a cross up by the roadside. And lately, there's been wreaths of comfrey turning up next to it. I don't take them there, nor my husband neither.
You think Simon did?
Who knows?
I see. What went on between Simon and your daughter?
Nothing that hasn't happened before. She was pretty, very pretty. And he was young, and so things went...
That must have been quite a scandal.
My husband was furious. He ran around the cottage brandishing an axe and yelling that he'd kill him. The neighbours wagged their tongues a bit, but in the end I was happy the girl was taken care of. Only she never had the chance to hold that babe in.
I'm very sorry.
Such is a woman's lot in life.
And what happened to Simon?
The poor man. He took it the...
That's rubbish. People lie together out of wedlock all the time, and God never smites them down.
That's just what I told him. But it's hardly my place to lecture a priest. And who knows? Maybe he was right. The Lord moves in mysterious. He was overflowing with grief. He barely spoke, didn't eat.
Can you tell me where that cross is?
Certainly. There are settling tanks for the mines to the west of Skalitz. On the hill above...
All right. I'll be going.
Very good, then. And if you do find him, let him know that we have no hard feelings.
I'll tell him.
Да, чисто на доп, посчитай, потратил эту серию. Это, конечно, такое из себе. Я в шоке, какой же он в жопе живет. Ну ладно. Ну и как обычно, ребята, я скипаю, бывают диалоги, если что, я их читаю. Ну просто, чтобы не затягивать, оно ж неинтересно. Там сюжетные я ж не скипаю. Барботик, это немножко неуважение вроде бы.
This must be that cross. Mary's mother was right. Someone did lay flowers here recently.
Посмотри, где он находится. Что за жопа мира? Мне еще причем надо возвращаться назад к сюжету, потому что уже темнеет. Уже темнеет, а мне надо его... Что такое? А мне надо его... Что такое? Мне надо его искать. И хер его знает, где оно может быть. Ну, блин, жалко, у Барбоса нету функции искать человека. Было бы классно. О! Здрасте. Изи было.
Yes. Yes, I think so. Oh, what happened to those wretches?
They're skulking around here somewhere.
Good God! Couldn't you scare them off somehow? I'm afraid they'll be back.
I'll see what I can do.
Just don't hurt anyone.
Приколист? Воу! А за что? То есть убить, но не убивать, да? А за что типы просто бьют чувака? Ни за что. Что вообще происходит? Нападай. Не, конечно, я могу их зарубить. А за что они вообще начали бить? А он мне помогать просто не будет. Не, я то водолей на изи. Я потом их просто зарублю и все. Это что за ураган был такой? Что за приемчик? Да ё-моё, ты можешь драться нормально. Не блокай удары. Я, кстати, ногами вообще не пользуюсь. Самое удивление. Да на. Ошибочка. Меня заломали. Как у чувака вообще получается что-то делать? Ну, ты будешь его бить. Да, ударь его, замочил уже наконец-то, у него мало хп. Че вообще убежал? Ну не трать мое время. Ты можешь уже плюху пропустить? Нет, ты издеваешься? Наконец-то. И не прошел год. Но я бы их убил.
They didn't look dangerous. The only thing at risk was your possessions.
I know, poor fools. But I was afraid they'd leave me here. What would I have done then? And to whom do I owe my salvation?
My name's Henry. You may remember me. I'm the son of the Skalitz blacksmith.
Your face does seem familiar. But listen, Henry, I can't help feeling you didn't stumble across me by accident.
It's true. I've come to ask a favor of you.
Me? What on earth could I do for you?
I need you to go back to St. James. The folk there need spiritual guidance. Skalitz is a burned-out shell, and many have died in St. James. They need a priest. Any priest.
I understand, but I have to disappoint you. I gave up my calling. Instead, I've given myself over to repentance.
I know your story, Father.
Then you know what I'm guilty of.
Yes, and I don't want to try to make light of it. Your conscience is your own affair, but I know that deep down you're a good man.
You don't know what you're saying. You don't know me.
But I know what you did. Many priests break God's commandments willy-nilly and aren't the least ashamed.
That doesn't absolve me of my sins. God's law is set, no matter how often it's violated.
You're certainly right, but the people need you. And forgive me for being blunt, but while you can leave the presbytery if you choose, it doesn't absolve you of your duty to Christian folk.
But I'm a sinner. I'm not fit to guide anyone. I'm unworthy to do so.
Priests, bishops, monks, abbots, they're all sinners. Even the Holy Father himself is a sinner. You've done your penance, and now your people need you.
You're probably right. It is my duty. At least for a time, until they find someone better.
I don't think they'll find anyone better in a hurry.
All right. I'll take what I can carry and go back to St. James.
Thank you. Your parishioners will be very grateful. I need help with treatment.
And what's wrong with you?
Oh, nothing. But Philip from Skalitz is dying. He's lying in Sasau and won't last long.
Slowly now. What happened to him?
Nobody knows much. He's not wounded, but I heard he was hiding from the Cumans for days in a pile of carcasses.
The Lord have mercy. The living should never lie with the dead. His intestines must be purged, but even then he's in God's hands.
How do I clean his intestines?
It might surprise you, but you'll have to give him alcoholic spirits. The purest you can get your hands on. The best is distilled from Artemisia. It'll make him a bit delirious, but it'll help. I'll show you how to prepare it.
Ой, мне 2 зелья, получается, надо приготовить. Кстати, у меня такое ощущение, как будто мой персонаж начал двигаться быстрее. Сейчас сообщим ему то, что мы нашли, священника. И потом пойдем к сюжету. Да и вообще сейчас серию будем заканчивать.
I found you a priest.
Really? That's wonderful news. Who is it?
The former parish priest of St. James. I persuaded him to return to live among you, at least for a while.
So you found him?
Yes. He was roaming the woods around here.
Thank God. You'll see. Once there's a priest, people will soon be back.
I hope so.
I've put together a small sum for a new piece. So I thought a portion should definitely go to you, as a reward.
Thanks. That'll come in handy.
You're welcome. The main thing is, we'll have a man of God here with us.
So, farewell to you. And I hope he gets here soon. Just don't you let him run off again.
I'll keep an eye on him myself. Godspeed to you, Henry, and thank you for your help.
Не, ну а чё, я должен от денег отказываться? Кто я такой, верно? От халявы. Уходить. Я надеюсь, время подойдет. Сейчас почти 2 часа ночи. Но я надеюсь, оно сойдет. Получается, я должен увидеть свет. И тогда можно заходить. Блин, ну, я надеюсь, мне не придется ждать нового дня. Что-то я ни хера не вижу, если честно. Никакого света. А может и получилось.
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in
Amen.
heaven. What?
So, you've been looking for us, eh? What is it you want?
Ребята, попуститесь, окей? У меня умение, то, что я мочу больше людей, если они одновременно нападают. Вы не к месту. Вы не вовремя пришли.
No one in any tavern told you to come here and wait, did they? So let's have it. Who told you?
I don't recall his name, but he was one of your friends. He said that he couldn't take me straight to you, that I had to go through the church.
He was right about that. But he still said more than he should have.
I know my way around. You won't go wrong with me.
Spare me the boasting. I've got a test ready for you. Let's see how you handle it before you tell us how wonderful you are.
What test?
Nothing complicated. We used to take anyone who looked like they could keep their head on straight. But not now. Now you can only join if you do what we tell you.
Which is what? Steal something?
Nah, not theft. If you want to join us, you have to kill Pius.
I'll have to find him first.
You don't need to find him. We know where he is.
Then why haven't you killed him yourselves?
It's quite a test. He's hiding in a monastery.
With the stable boys? It's not hard to get into the grounds.
No, not there. Well, he would have been dead long since. He's in the, cloister, or whatever it is.
But only monks can get in there.
Just monks and pious. He's an educated bastard. Seems he used to be a priest, but it didn't quite work out.
Who's pious, and why should I kill him?
That's none of your business. But I'll tell you anyway, because it's an instructive tale. Pius was one of his, but he fucked up.
How? Did he steal something?
Yeah, that was part of it. Stole some money, ran away. A few boys died over it. Showed a distinct lack of loyalty. And as soon as he's dead, you can join us.
Murder someone in a monastery? Have you gone mad?
Murder's a sin as it is. Doesn't really matter where you do it.
Yes, it does. I'd be spilling blood on hallowed ground.
Well then, knock him senseless, drag him outside, and finish him off where it's less sacred. I don't give a damn where you do it, just as long as he ends up dead.
And how am I supposed to get into the cloister?
You'll think of something. Maybe there's a secret passage.
And do you have any other ideas besides secret?
Well, there is this one fellow been hanging around, and if he doesn't help, knock him on his ass.
How will I recognize Pius?
He won't have been there long.
But what if there are others?
Normal. He always went...
Yes, except he'll be given a run.
Then you'll have to try and figure out which one of the novices it's...
Get him drunk. In a...
We're better.
Fine. So I've got to kill Pius. He's in the cloister, and to get into the cloister, I'll need to enlist the help of some boy who's joining the order, right?
More or less. And now the main thing.
The main thing is to kill him, isn't it?
Of course. But that's not all. All hell's gonna break loose in the monastery after the murder. So, either make sure nobody finds him, or hightail it out of there quick as soon as the job's done. But better if they don't find him right away.
And what else? Should I come back here afterwards?
No. Before you run for it, take his special dice and bring it as proof that you killed him. And if you can get him to tell you where he hid the coin, bring that as well.
Bring his dice and the money if I find it. And where should I bring it?
From the monastery, head east across the river. There'll be a swamp where you'll find a fire pit. Go there at night and light a fire. Make it nice and big and we'll show up. Take the dice and the money, and then tell you where to report. Got it?
Right, I'm to slip into the best guarded place in the entire region and kill someone. Take his dice and money, and then go to the swamp and wait by the fire.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Well, you can at least say a few Hail Marys for me. I'm gonna need all the help I can get.
And remember, we'll be keeping tabs. So don't you try to run off, alright? Goodbye.
Плане следите. Я даже допы не могу выполнять. Короче, интересное испытание убить Святошу. Ну, хотя он был один из них, тоже насрать. Да мне вообще насрать, я любого могу замочить и... неважно где. Короче, надо проходить испытания. То есть мы, получается, должны как-то в церковь попасть. Вот это, конечно, интересно. Где ключик? В смысле, помогите? А я что, не помог? Бля, хера кому помог? Я принес. Я просто не излечил 2 зелья и не принес еду. Тю. Но у меня было такое сомнение, то что если я сейчас пойду, то квест провалится, вот этот необязательный. Но все равно это бред. Какая разница, когда я буду его выполнять? Ну ладно, будем заканчивать серию, буду записывать подряд. Но в основном я сегодня помогал больным. Потратил очень много времени на ёханки. Получается, я спас все же людей от мора, хоть даже их поубивал. Получается, там помог с работой, друзьям своим. Получается, нашел Святошу, с ёханки помог немного. Но все равно ей мало было для этого. Блин, кстати, а если я уйду, то они что-то заподозрят? Нет? По сути, все. Больше не было ничего такого, я по сути все сделал. Тоже все. Подписывайтесь, комментируйте, ставьте лайк. Не забывайте нажимать на колокольчик, рассказывайте друзьям, подписывайтесь на ТикТок. Увидимся уже в следующей серии. Всем спасибо и всем пока.